From the Alabama News Network, this is Your Community This Week on ABC 32.
Hello everyone and welcome to Your Community This Week on ABC 32. I'm Mandy McQueen. Today we'll be talking with Ms. Charlotte Mustafer and Rabbi Scott Looper to chat about the Jewish Food Festival, but that's a little later in the show. First, I'm joined by Shannon Randolph. She is a registered dietitian and the Director of Admissions at Capitol Hill Healthcare, so thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you.
Yes, and of course February is Valentine's Day this month, but we're also talking about a healthy heart. And talk to me a little bit about heart disease.
Well, heart disease is so prevalent in our country. So many Americans affected by this disease.
Right.
Really, heart disease kills more in America every year than all forms of cancer combined. So the alarming thing is that American Heart Association studies show that a large number of Americans believe that heart attacks are preventable, but very few of us do anything to prevent them. So I think the awareness this month is a great thing, hopefully to help everyone see that there are ways to prevent this disease, there are ways to combat this disease, and that it's never too late to join in the fight against heart disease.
Is that the #1 killer in the U.S., would you say, is heart disease?
Yes, it's one of the leading killers in the U.S. And causes so many other problems too, other diseases related to that. So to join in the fight is so important, whatever stage you're in life. And so we're hoping that to give some practical ideas about how to do that may increase the number of people who want to join in the fight.
Is there a certain age where people are more at risk for heart disease
The
problems?
risk definitely goes up at ages 40 to 75. That's where the risk factors increase. It's a great thing to work with your physician. It really is a interdisciplinary, a team approach to each patient is the way to combat this. To figure out what the risk factors are for each specific person. Right. That helps to set the treatment plan for how to treat it or how to prevent it based on your risk factors. We know everyone has some risk factors that can't be controlled, genetic risk and that sort of thing. But as we like to say at Capitol Hill with our employees, you know, we need to control the controllables. Right. So that rings so true in heart disease. There are so many controllables that each person can control in their own life to reduce the risk. That includes a healthy diet, increasing your activity, decreasing the stressors in your life, not smoking. All these things together, it is attainable. And sometimes we think when we hear about a heart healthy diet, people either don't really know what that is, or they see that it's more trouble, harder to get. They see dollar signs, and so we just want to put some practical ideas out there for simple ways to change things to obtain that healthy lifestyle.
What is categorized as a heart disease? Does that include heart attacks, strokes? Does prolapsed heart valve include in that, or what's the kind of category for it?
Well, as we get older, our arteries are known to become stiffer anyway. So that's where part of the risk comes in, and that's where heart disease starts. But then there are other things that happen during our life that cause us to add plaque to our arteries that can make them narrower. Okay. And that's where heart disease comes in, narrowing of the arteries. So things like diabetes and obesity, hypertension, they can really complicate what's already happening. So as much as we can control those things, we definitely want to do that. And then on the other side of that, increasing activity, which helps to prevent or manage all of those diseases, can certainly help to reduce the risk of what heart disease can do.
Right. And how important is exercise and maybe cardio for the heart to keep it healthy?
Well, that's where we can join in at any age. At a young age, to get the recommended amount of physical activity is so important. At an older age, to jump in and do physical activity can prevent the furthering of these problems. Physical activity recommended is 150 minutes a week of moderate intensity physical activity. And so the way I describe that would be in cardio exercise, it's all about your heart rate. So when your heart rate is up, so that you could still talk and carry on a conversation, although it might be a little more difficult. That's moderate intensity.
Right.
You could do 75 minutes a week of high intensity exercise, which would be a heart rate up so much that you probably couldn't carry on a conversation.
Right.
And as long as that's healthy for you, that would be also recommended. So, 30 minutes 5 times a week, that's what is recommended. So to get your heart rate up enough that it helps your body and helps to prevent or treat the heart disease that's happening. So, that seems to be attainable. It's a great goal and so important to control our weight and keep our hearts healthy.
Does it help to have, like a Fitbit or one of those trackers to kind of help track your heart rate?
I think it helps more than anything, but it depends on what motivates you. It's very motivating we all know from a dietetic standpoint, from any other standpoint, to be accountable is so important. So if that means writing down what you eat every day, if that means writing down your exercise, and now in our age of technology, you don't have to write everything down anymore. If you have something keeping up with your activity, it's automatic accountability, which is so important. So I think starting with your team that's taking care of you, starting with your physician, not starting any exercise program or any new diet program without talking to them first so that your risk factors can be taken into account. There's some information out there now, just take an aspirin a day, or those who take a statin drug every day. That may be part of a recommended treatment plan, but it really takes...
I hate to break in real quick. We're going to wrap to the break real quick, but we're going to continue our conversation in just a moment, so stay with us. We'll be right back on ABC 32. And with us on Your Community this week is Shannon Randolph. And February is American Heart Month, so we're continuing our conversation on heart healthy nutrition. Again, thank you for joining me. And earlier we had a lot of good information about exercising, keeping that heart healthy, prevention. Another prevention ways, and I've always heard this, is limiting the sodium. So talk a little bit about that and how important that is to watch the sodium.
I think for older Americans, we can just become more sensitive to sodium as far as our blood pressure and hypertension. And hypertension certainly is a risk factor for heart disease. So I think the main thing to remember is that we don't have to sacrifice flavor. In the South, we just tend to add things to our food to make it more flavorful, and that's okay. But we can do it with herbs and spices. Adding things like gravies and sauces can add lots of trans fat that we're trying to stay away from, so that we don't add that plaque to our arteries. So I think if we could just make small modifications like salsa and tomatoes and adding that kind of thing to our food, we would still have great flavor. We do want to reduce the sodium, so if we use more, I think we have to think of our plate a little differently so that our plate looks like the majority colorful vegetables. That meat could really be more of a garnish than the main focus of our plate. That we add whole grains and incorporate some things that we're just not used to. Learning what quinoa is and maybe adding some of these whole grains to our diet can make a world of difference to a healthy diet. And it's just balanced. The more color we have, the more balanced we are.
Right. And how can people cook healthy? I've also heard this too, so I'll ask if this is true or a myth, but I know some people have said maybe cooking with like coconut oil or something instead of butter. Is that healthier?
I think cooking with most vegetable oils would be healthier. That would be olive oil, canola oil, those kinds of oils. Coconut oil, since you mentioned it, would be one that still has lots of trans fat. So we would want to stay with other vegetable oils, but yes, definitely. Not that real butter is a problem, but everything in moderation, I think.
Yeah. And I know probably a good thing to remember also is limiting the alcohol as well, right? Yes,
we're going to cut out smoking for our heart health, and we're going to limit alcohol, just because everything is to be in moderation, but these are things that it can be associated with a higher risk, so limiting for sure.
And is it true that a glass of red wine, is that okay for you or healthy for your heart as long as it's in moderation?
I think in moderation it can be. I think that the tannins in the red wine have been associated with some heart health, but again, it just depends on each person's ability to limit that and to do things in moderation.
Perfect. And you are also with Capitol Hill, so talk to me a little bit about what you all have going on there as well.
Well, we do take into account our residents. They are older Americans for the most part, and we think it's very important to help them join in the fight at their age and their situation. So we look at our menus to make sure that there's a variety, that we do have a colorful plate. Now, you know, as we said, all foods really fit in our diet, and we don't want to ever say never. We don't want to be totally restrictive, as few people have success with that. So we have fun parties and times that we really get Southern cooking.
Yeah.
We have treats, but we try to offer snacks that fit into this healthy diet, and an overall menu. Of course, we have fried chicken. We wouldn't be in Montgomery, Alabama if we didn't.
That's the South, yes.
And we would have a revolt on our hands. But we do try to balance that with lots of vegetables and color in our diet.
And what's the age range that you all have at Capitol Hill?
Usually 55 and up.
Okay.
We do have the occasional resident who's younger than that, but for the most part, they're over 55. So in that age group of risk. And so some of them are already battling heart disease and some are not. So we want to make all the healthy foods available so that they can still have a choice, pick the foods that they would like, but what they pick from hopefully would make a balanced meal.
Perfect. Well, again, thank you so much. A lot of good information for us for Healthy Heart Month during February. And thanks for your time. You're watching Your Community This Week on ABC 32. In a few minutes, we'll chat with Charlotte Mustipher and Rabbi Scott Looper as well, so stay with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Today we're talking with Ms. Charlotte Mustipher and Rabbi Scott Looper on ABC 32. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you.
We're happy to be here.
Yes, of course. And we got some yummy food with us as well. You can already see it on the table, just to kind of give you a little teaser there. And we are talking about the Jewish Food Festival.
That's right.
Yeah, so tell me the details about it.
Well, a week from Sunday.
Okay, so coming up pretty quick.
23rd at Temple Beth Or on Narrow Lane Road, 2246.
Got the date down and everything.
And
9 o'clock start time.
Okay. Do people need to register or pay anything, or can anyone come?
Anyone,
everyone.
everyone should come.
Perfect.
Well, I want to say first that we are so grateful to the community for the support that we've had.
Right.
We've been doing this for many years. And
That was
a
gonna be
lot
my
of
next
people know
question.
about it and they are waiting for it. So if you don't know about it, better find out today or later and come early. It's from
9 o'clock to
9 to 2.
9 o'clock to
But
2.
don't wait till 1 o'clock to come.
Yeah, don't wait late, because then all the good food will be gone, I'm sure.
That is correct.
So kind of give me a little bit of a preview. If people have never been before, what can they expect?
All right, well, so you come in, we have one door with the main door, and we have many rooms with different items that have been donated. They're gently used, some are new.
Okay.
And we've had people before, they wait in line to get there. We never know what's going to be in the treasure market. But
Okay.
you come and look for treasure if you want to. Some people come in and they go straight for the food.
Perfect.
And we'll talk when you're ready about the food and the different things. But
And is
that's-
all that inside the temple? Is it all inside?
Correct.
Okay, all inside. So let's talk about the food. Now we've got some yummy stuff here in front of us. What is this that we've got?
So you want to tell them about the challah? The rabbi is a really good challah maker.
So this is challah.
Did you make this?
I didn't braid
Oh,
that
okay.
one.
Okay. Okay, so what?
But so it's a braided bread.
Okay.
And we have it on, traditionally we'll have it on Friday nights
Okay.
before Shabbat or as our Sabbath meal,
Okay.
part of our Sabbath meal. So there's a phrase in Hebrew that says, Ein kemach, ein Torah, ein Torah, ein kemach. So if you don't have bread, then you don't have learning. And if you don't have learning, you don't have bread. So they're essential. So, and eating, bread is just bread for us. It's,
Gotcha. And what is this too that we've got?
Now, that's a Carnegie Deli cheesecake.
Yeah, oh, my favorite.
We sell those during the year before Thanksgiving, and we're selling them again now. You can buy them by the slice there, or people can buy a whole one and take it home.
Perfect. I will
And
take this because I love
That's
cheesecake.
right. You get the whole one.
I get the whole cheesecake, even though we just talked about
healthy,
food.
thin slices.
Okay,
Maybe
yes.
we should have come first.
In moderation.
Yes, everything.
In moderation is fine.
So I helped the other day make some of the challah, and it is a lot of fun to take the pieces of the dough and then do the braiding.
Does that take
you know.
long to do?
Not long,
No, okay.
and it's fun.
Have you
It's a
ever
lot of
braided
fun.
your hair?
Yes. Okay, so it's about like
Yeah,
that.
you take
Okay,
3
that's easy.
strands and you just
Okay,
over, under, done.
I like it. Okay, so what else do we have on the
Okay,
menu?
so this, you'll be seeing these around town, and we'll have them that day. They are our flyers, and they list the foods and the prices.
We got hot dogs. I know what a hot dog is.
Yeah, well, the hot plate is one of the favorites, and that's our brisket. We have something new called Sephardic green beans, and that's really good with tomatoes, paste tomatoes
Yum.
and onions, and kugel, which is a sweet noodle and egg casserole, and
Okay.
then the bread, and that comes all on that plate. And then we have the deli plate, which people love, corned beef sandwiches, etc., and the veggie plate, which
You all are making me hungry.
is, if you haven't had quijado, that's a Sephardic dish, and it's spinach with eggs and noodles casserole. So it's really a spinach casserole, but it's delicious.
Yeah, that sounds good.
And so that's on the veggie plate, along with the kugel, which, as I said, is the noodle casserole, the latkes. You want to tell them about the latkes? What
You
we're doing?
can go ahead there.
So our latkes are our potato pancakes.
Okay.
That's all it is. And then you put some
Potato
sour
pancakes.
cream and what is it?
Applesauce.
Applesauce on it. Delicious.
That sounds so
But
interesting.
as of last year, we've got a new gadget. It's a big cooking thingy, and people go
It's a latke maker.
latke maker, and people go and are cooking that as they're ordered. Before we've done it ahead, but now they're fresh off the griddle, and it's a lot of fun, and people love that. So,
Yes, that sounds amazing.
and that's on that one.
My tongue is like,
You ready?
yeah, I'm like,
Okay.
you know.
Mine's watering with this cheesecake right here. Okay, but we're going to continue our conversation in just a moment. You don't want to go anywhere. This is Your Community This Week on ABC 32. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Today we're talking with Ms. Charlotte Mussafer to chat about the Jewish Food Festival, as well as Rabbi Scott Looper with us on Your Community This Week, and it is coming up soon, and it's going to be rain or shine, right?
Rain or shine.
Rain or shine, perfect. And you've also got live music as well?
Oh, we do. Dahlia Road will be there. Two
Okay.
wonderful women that sing and play the guitar, and what else do they play? Guitar and singing.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
beautiful.
And if weather's been nice most years,
Good.
please. So
Yes, fingers
they'll be
crossed for good weather.
outside, and we have seating outside if the weather's nice. If not, we have it in the different rooms inside. And so come and
Yeah.
get your plate and eat it there, take it home. A lot of people take it home. They, don't worry about that.
So you
But-
can take
but-
a to-go plate?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Lots of people take things, they put them in their freezer, they have them for dinner. But, and people have asked about the parking, that's
Mm-hmm.
important. But we have a lot of parking in the back, but Huntington College allows us to use their parking lot by their tennis courts on narrow lanes. So we
Okay.
have shuttles from there, so it's really easy to do it that way. Park there, and you'll get a ride up to the
Mm-hmm. Perfect.
temple.
That makes it easy. How large a
Yes.
crowd are you all expecting?
I think we had about 3,000 people last year,
I
at
think
least.
so,
Yeah.
I think so.
So we should double that this year.
Yeah.
Why not?
And Rabbi, you'll be giving some tours as well.
That's correct. So it's not so much like walking around the structure. I take people into the sanctuary, and I'll show them a Torah and describe what one sees in the building itself.
Yeah.
But then I talk about Judaism and answer questions so that people gain a more understanding
Yeah.
about who Jews are and what we believe.
Right, so people can come and also kind of get to understand the culture, as well as also try the yummy food too.
That's correct. There's no tests afterwards. So you can
Good to know.
just come and eat and listen.
And
We're there to help. If you don't know what some of the food is,
Yes.
we'll tell you what it is. We'll tell you how to get your tickets when you get in. But it's no charge to come, no charge for parking. And we want to see everybody. We have a good time. We are so happy to welcome the community to find out about what we offer at Temple Beth Or and the Jewish religion. If you don't know about it, you can learn a lot at that day. And matzo ball soup. We have matzo ball soup,
what is
which
that?
people come early.
Okay.
The matzo balls, and it's chicken.
I'm going to
it's chicken
start.
soup.
I'm making. I'm,
You make it?
I'm making
Okay.
some. So I make big pots. I get chicken,
Uh-huh.
and I actually put in chicken feet, which sweetens up the
Interesting.
soup a little.
feet.
Yeah.
See, this is all
And-
new to me.
And
This
then
is all new.
onions and could be parsley or celery root,
Yeah.
and
But you have
cook
to
it.
come early for that.
But you
because
cook and
is
cook it
really-
for a couple days.
Okay.
And then matzo balls are, take matzo meal, which is like probably just wheat flour, but
Right.
it's
Yeah.
matzo flour. You already make the
Made from the
matzah,
made
and then
from the
you crunch
flatbread.
it up, and they're just
Yeah. Okay.
put them in
I think
water
I'm
first.
picking
and
up what you're putting
they're
down.
good.
Got it.
They're good. They're yummy.
How important is it to have this event for your temple and just your community and the fellowship?
I think it's I think it's really important, both as our community. I mean, it seems like almost every congregant comes out to participate in the baking, in the cooking,
Yeah.
in the preparation, and then in the day. But the Jewish community has always been very engaged in the larger community of Montgomery, and I think that it is our way of being present
Right.
as well.
Okay.
So that's essential to
Yeah.
us.
Perfect. All right. Well, again, a lot of great food. They've also got these flyers around town so you can see all of the great food. A lot of good stuff. Sounds very interesting. So thank you so much for joining me today. And if you have a guest or a topic suggestion, then grab a pencil. We'll tell you how to send us the information next on Your Community This Week. Welcome back. To suggest a guest for your community this week, just contact our producer, Lois Crenshaw. Her email address is lcrenshaw@allen.tv, or you can call her. That number on your screen, 649-1071. And that's going to wrap it up for us today on Your Community This Week. We hope you join us again next Sunday. Have a great week, everyone. I'm so excited for this. Look at that. That is